Am I the asshole for refusing to pay an artist for her work? Okay, so I know it sounds bad, but I genuinely don't think I'm at fault here. So I'm currently planning to get my apartment repainted completely since I've just moved in and all the walls happen to be white. I was talking to a friend about this when he told me he had a friend who had just recently graduated art school and was really into wall painting. I told him I didn't want any wall painting done because I had already planned out most of the coloring scheme. He told me that his friend was looking for places to practice wall painting since she's new to it and hasn't really found places she could do that without it being vandalism. So he called her up and we had a chat. I said, "I DM letting her paint the walls in my bedroom because I'm busy for the next few days and it isn't a common living space." I checked with my painters and they told me that they could easily paint over that. They're not free for a couple weeks, so I haven't moved in yet, but I told him to ask his friends to go nuts in my room without scraping or causing any damage. I told her that her work would be painted over. She said she's simply doing it for the practice and wouldn't mind as long as she could take some pictures for the portfolio, and that I would be doing her a huge favor letting her practice. So fast forward a couple weeks, and I go to my room and it's absolutely amazing with a bunch of designs and a lot of edgy art, so I decide that I wouldn't get it painted over. Problem is I have a contract with my painter and still have to pay him for my room even if he doesn't do the job. I called her and told her that the room was great and I'd be recommending her to anyone who asked who painted my room. She then out of the blue asked me how much I'd be paying her for the work. I told her about my painter situation and that I would have paid her the amount I was paying him if I didn't have a contract. She got mad and told me I was taking advantage of a young artist. She's literally 3 years younger. She said she'd sue me for payment and I reminded her of our agreement. She said that was done on the basis that I wouldn't be keeping it. I told her that I was doing her a favor by giving her a place to practice and that I never had any monetary obligation. She blew up at me and called our mutual friend. I explained my situation and how I simply don't have the funds, but he thinks I'm an asshole too. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit. I never wanted my room to be painted by an artist and don't have the money to get it done professionally. I thought I'd keep it because it looks great and I could recommend other people who saw it about her. Edit. I did not charge her anything for letting her use my walls for practice. Edit. I didn't commission her to do it. I didn't even give her any guidelines except not to scrap the walls. This was supposed to be her practicing and making a portfolio. Edit. I wasn't trying to con her FFS. I thought it wouldn't hurt me to let her practice since I would be getting repainting done anyways. I did not originally plan on keeping the art. Edit. I was thinking of paying her a token amount, whatever I can, but now I'm torn about doing that as well since that would actually give her grounds to sue. She does not have the right to claim ownership, intellectual property rights of the art right now. I checked, but I don't want to get myself into more hot water trying to do a good thing. Edit. The painters were contracted and are being paid for me reserving their time, at least from what I understand. It's too late to cancel any charges. Edit. All the info texts have been lost in the storm of comments, so PM me if you have any actual questions. Please don't troll. So, she was happy to use the space for practice and no pay when she thought you'd be erasing it, and now that you're keeping it she wants compensation? That doesn't make sense to me. Like you said, you did her the favor of providing a blank space to work in. And since you're out of pocket for paying the painters for the room they aren't painting anymore, I'd say not the asshole. She is still getting her portfolio piece, and you will be advertising. I came here fully prepared to vote for YTA, but after reading this, I would go for not the asshole. The initial agreement was, that she can use your walls for practice, and afterwards use the photos of her art for her portfolio. This hasn't changed, by you deciding to keep the paintings on the wall. I would think about giving her a tip for a job well done, but this would be totally voluntary, and not part of the initial agreement. Edit. Added spaces to YTA for the bot. As an artist, not the asshole. I can kind of understand her feeling a little like you took advantage, but I genuinely think if you wanted to do that, you wouldn't have made that deal with the painting company and had to pay them a fee to cancel. She should take this as a compliment and know that she cannot ask for compensation afterwards without having a mutual agreement in writing beforehand. You may have commissioned her for something else, but she's gonna burn bridges with this kind of attitude. Not the asshole payment was never mentioned. If she keeps bothering you, just tell your painter to paint over it. Not the asshole. You are adhering to the spirit and content of the original agreement. Hopefully young artist will learn to specify her terms to what she wants. I understand it's a tough situation any upcoming artist is in, with needing experience, and trying to make a living. But sounds like you only agreed to let her practice on your property and use it as portfolio, not to buy her work. Why I love this R. The title had me ready to crucify you, but content completely turned me around. Not the asshole. Sounds like this just escalated and blindsided you. I don't blame you for not wanting to paint over the art if it's awesome. I'm a little confused about why she is so mad. She would rather have it ruined than someone show off her art? Can she sign the wall and maybe you could do some free advertising for her on your social media? It just seems like there should be an easy compromise here, and it should definitely involve the artist humbling herself a bit. This is a hard one. Since you are keeping the work, she should be compensated because you are the one going back in the original agreement. I would have it painted over to avoid more drama. You are the asshole. She worked on the premise the work would be painted over. If you've decided to keep and display the work, she needs to be compensated. Otherwise, stick with the original deal and paint over it. Am I the asshole for not mentioning a pool party I am having to someone again? So I planned a pool part about a month ago for last weekend. I had about 10 people coming over. I sent Facebook invites, text messages and phone calls. Of those 10 was my best friend. Now my friend goes to people's houses and does work for them. So when I mentioned this to her a month ago, she said I probably can't make it, but I'll let you know. 2 weeks later I send her a reminder and she says, sorry I can't come. I send just one more reminder a few days before the party. 'Cause things might change, you never know. And she gets a little upset and says, enough with the reminders, I can't go. Thanks though for thinking of me. Day prior I send one more reminder to everyone else and Al confirmed looking forward to a pool day. We are all able to be together due to modern medicine, if you get what I mean. Shot. Day of the party. Everyone is over, having a great time. Posting pictures, having drinks and eating and just enjoying being able to be together. Later that night I get a very angry text from my best friend saying, why didn't you text me? I could have came. My job got cancelled, to which I sent her a screenshot of her telling me to stop mentioning it to her, and I also said that she could have texted me to let me know her plans changed and if she could still come over, or even just show up. I definitely wouldn't have cared if she just showed up. I would have been pretty happy at the surprise. I get a rude whatever from her and I don't hear anything back, so I let it go. I go on social media the next day to see some pictures only to see her blasting me for not reminding her. Now I don't use social media except to see pictures and keep in touch with some family members. Hell, I never post anything. However, I did screenshot all of our conversations and posted it on Facebook and said, you were invited. 2 minutes after it was posted I deleted it cause I felt bad and I'm not petty like that. A moment of misjudgment in my end. I will take blame for that one. But it was posted long enough for her to see it. She has been texting me calling me an asshole for doing that. That I am an asshole for not texting her a final time. So I ask, am I the asshole for not sending a final text message to my boyfriend after she told me not to because she was working the day of my party even though her job got cancelled unbeknownst to me? Edit. Wow. I didn't expect this to blow up. Thank you for all the comments. However, the private message for me to grow a spine was a little confusing. I already have one, so how would I go one again? So my friend and I have been friends since we were 10. We met in elementary school in math class and have been friends ever since. I am not going to stop being friends with her just because of this. I did some digging, not to her, but messaged a couple of mutual friends and I was told that she has been snapping at a few others as well and having an attitude. So this leads me to believe there is more going on. I am going to give it a week or so before I call her and see what the actual problem was. I also deleted what her job was. I think that was too personal and edited so it wasn't revealed. I know it doesn't really mean anything but this blew up and I got a little nervous lol. Not the asshole for not texting her a fourth time about your party. She knew when the party was and could have texted you or just shown up when her job got cancelled. She's the asshole for bringing it to social media. You shouldn't have replied to her post, but you figured that out and took it down. Seems like she was looking for a reason to pick a fight. Not the asshole op. You did way more than enough to be a good friend. Sounds like your friend is stressed and hating her job right now and experiencing some major FOMO. Not the asshole. Her. Stop reminding me, I know I can come if I can. You. Okay, proceeds with party. Her. Surprised Pikachu face. Not the asshole. That's way more reminders than I would ever send. I probably would have thought you went overboard sending that May reminders. It's their own fault for not remembering or putting it on the calendar in case things got cancelled. Also, they posted first and your response was fine. Not the asshole, and if she really is your best friend, it might be a good idea to ask her seriously if there is something else she is upset about, because nothing about her reaction here is reasonable. Nah, not the asshole. She wants you to read her mind and beg her after explicitly being told to stop. Your social media response was defending yourself appropriately in the same forum in which you were attacked. Not the asshole. She didn't tell you that her job was cancelled beforehand? There's no reason for her to be mad at you. Not the asshole, and your friend needs to soak her head. Am I the asshole for going off on my ex-coworker because she asked me to go to church with her? I used to work at a restaurant but quit recently due to mental health issues. We used Facebook to trade shifts, so I'm friends with a lot of my old coworkers on there, and I'm still on the Facebook group. One of my old coworkers was a girl named Jan. I worked with her a couple times and never had an issue with her. We would talk a little bit, but nothing too deep, mostly about the area we worked at and how life is going. Jan messaged me last month to see how I was doing and if I was still working at the restaurant. I explained that I had to quit due to my mental health being really bad. She politely asked if I could explain what my exact issues were, and I told her because I knew she was studying to become a nurse and had an interest in treating mental illnesses. After a little bit, she asked if she could ask me a question and explained that her church was doing an event and implied that it could help me with my mental health problems. I told her that I wasn't a fan of religion. After that, she started asking weird questions and it just seemed like she was trying to convert me. Do you think there's a God? And stuff like that. I have PTSD due to Christianity. Only a couple people know about it because it's something I struggle with and it's a very private thing. I tried to change the topic but she kept asking me stuff about religion and my beliefs. I told her that religion isn't something you should talk to your coworkers about, it's very unprofessional. Then I added that it was kind of shitty to just talk to me so she could add someone to her list of people that she helped save. It was very obvious that she messaged me with the intention of talking me into going to her church. I will admit that I came off as very rude, but it just triggered me. She replied with, "Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you." My final response was, "I had a great time working with you, and I hope you have a good career." After that I took screenshots and sent them to one of my other old coworkers who I was very close with. She told me that Jan got kicked out of our sister locations group chat because she was doing the same thing and it was against the rules. I was going to email the screenshots to the HR department, but then I found out that she no longer works there and she probably won't ever work there again. Edit. The company we worked for is pretty strict on respecting coworkers and stuff. I was going to email HR just so there's a paper trail in case it happens again. I did not know that she no longer worked there, and when I found that out, I decided to not do that because, well, she no longer worked there. My boyfriend said that I was kind of an asshole because I went off on her, but I only did that because of my history with trauma from that religion. I also posted it to a subreddit and multiple people told me that I came off as a bitch. I can see how I was the asshole here, but I do think she was one too for trying to convert her old coworkers. So am I the asshole? What could I have done differently? Not the asshole. It's never okay to force any concept down someone's throat. There can be discussions, but as soon as one party no longer wants to participate, the conversation should be ended. As a Christian, I can say the single most devastating thing for religion has been the pushy and judgmental folks forcing it down others' throats. My church focuses on helping our community, the vulnerable, but evangelicals are tearing apart what we are supposed to stand for, and I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Also, your coworker was prying and flat-out rude on a sensitive subject and seemingly only doing it to help herself. Gotta add to my soul saver checklist. You're absolutely not the asshole. I hope you feel better soon, op. Not the asshole, you started out polite and she pushed the issue. Not the asshole. She is the asshole because she is trying to force her beliefs on you. People like that always think they are helping but really are just being a pain. Good on you for telling her off, and don't feel bad because no matter how you reacted she would have spun the story to make you the jerk. Not the asshole. You handled it very professionally and with the right amount of patience. Compliments. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Religious trauma is tough, and she didn't respect your wish to stop talking about it. Not the asshole. You've already made your point clear, but she kept prying and pushing her beliefs on you. People like that wouldn't respond to anything else but the verbal slap in the face to get them to back down. Would I be the asshole if I stopped being vegetarian during college? I am about to start college and will be on my own. I've been vegetarian for a few years now, and was able to be because my parents could afford the alternative foods. However, where I'm going, they don't have many options and what is available is higher in price than I'd anticipated. Personally, I also need items that carry a bit more things like protein, B12, and iron, but that is due to medical reasons, and not everyone who is vegetarian struggles as bad with this. I was able to stay vegetarian because of the great options I had, but the new ones would have to be meals made from scratch, and I will not have time for that. I talked to a few friends about the situation, and friend 1 suggested I go back to eating specific meats that are healthier, like chicken and turkey. Friend 2 agreed, also stating that chicken is inexpensive and would be easy to fit into my diet, and would reduce my need for B12 supplements and protein powders and such. Friend 3, vegan, however, said I would be majorly hypocritical. They pointed out that I've promoted being vegetarian and that switching to eating bird meat would come off as an insult to anyone who went through with what I said. I explained that I only said that people should go vegetarian, vegan if they can afford it and have the resources. I added that I won't be able to afford alternatives while in school, and that it would be temporary until I have enough money and time to be vegetarian again. This went back and forth for a while, and I won't share my views that I brought up on being vegetarian, vegan unless anyone asks, as I know it sucks to have to sit through specifics of people's views, but in the end they called me a hypocrite and an hole for ultimately deciding to incorporate chicken and turkey into my meals during school. So I must ask here, if this would even count for the subreddit, because I have never posted here before, am I the asshole? Edit, update. So, updating faster than I expected. I was able to talk to friend 3. We talked about why I am choosing to do this, and why it's for health and finance reasons. These reasons are specific to me, so unless you're my dietitian or doctor, kindly shut up and don't lecture me on what my body needs. Friend 3 apologized for the outburst, and said friend 1 and 2 talked to them a while and that the points I said to them helped them realize everything. Not everyone can stay vegan, vegetarian. Even if it's a temporary halt to being vegetarian, I'm still doing my part for the environment, and that they can't blame one person for making a small change or expect them to hold that weight. It's better to have many people making a small change, than for a few people to make a big change. So, a rather good outcome of the situation. As much as I was hoping it wouldn't happen, this post did attract some egotistical preachy vegans, but I knew it was coming. They can't lecture me like a PETA representative and expect me to agree with them, but that's that. Thank you to all who commented and gave insight. I wish you a good day, night if you see this. Not the asshole. It's her choice to take your diet chance so personally. It's not an insult to anyone. It would say YTA if you had a history of preaching and judging, but that doesn't appear to be the case. I stopped in college for similar reasons. Your health is important and matters. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Do what's right for you and your body and don't let anyone pressure you into something else. If they are that upset about you not being able to afford to stay vegetarian, are they willing to support the lifestyle for you to do so? If they aren't, then they can shut up and their opinion doesn't matter. I'm not saying eat all the meats, but if money and options are an issue, what are you supposed to do? Starve? Do without the vital supplements that you need? Besides, people are allowed to change their mind, even temporarily. You do what you need to do to eat and remain healthy, without having to go completely broke just to feed yourself. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Eat whatever you want and don't feel guilty about it. Nobody else's input matters except a trained professional that knows what they are talking about. Not the asshole. Plant-based here. Do what you need to do. It's hard for many people to see their privilege or to understand that time is a huge resource. Yay, it's super cheap to be vegan. If you have the time, and kitchen space, to cook a bunch of food. And have access to a grocery store that sells it. In college you're lucky to find microwave dinners. You'll be busy with college stuff, it's understandable you won't have time to cook even if you have access and space to do so. This is your health, op. I hope you can stick to doing as little meat as possible for your own state of mind. But do what you got to do to stay healthy. Not the asshole your friend's privilege is showing and it's not a good look. Not the asshole. Diet is always a personal choice. Tell your friend to get lost. Militant less than insert dietary choice. Here's are some of worst people around.